Welcome to the WTR Small-Cap Spotlight Flashcast. I'm your host, Tim Gerdeman, Vice Chair and Co-Founder and Chief Marketing Officer of Water Tower Research. For today's Flashcast, I'm being joined by my colleague and WTR Senior Energy Transition and Sustainable Investing Analyst, Peter Gastreich. Peter will share some insights from his initiation of coverage on Nauticus Robotics, NASDAQ, ticker symbol KITT. I will point out that Nauticus is the only listed pure-play autonomous underwater drone technology company. Good morning, Peter, and thanks for joining.
Good morning, Tim. Thanks. Looking forward to our conversation today.
Likewise. Peter, let's jump right in. Can you tell our audience about Nauticus Robotics' business model and what makes this technology stand out?
Yeah, absolutely. So Nauticus is all about creating smart, autonomous ocean robots, but more importantly, it's the software and the services that go with them. This company is changing, I'd say, how offshore operations work for its customers. What sets Nauticus apart is its autonomous underwater drone, or AUD, ecosystem. Unlike regular underwater vehicles that are not very flexible, Nauticus drones are equipped with thrusters. That allows them to hover, very important, and maneuver easily, even in those tricky underwater environments. What you get is safer, more efficient, and precise underwater work. Plus, it helps cut down on carbon emissions. This company's flagship technology is its ToolKITT software that handles the navigation, perception, decision-making, and task execution. Importantly, ToolKITT works with both Nauticus' own hardware and that of other systems.
So ToolKITT is the flagship technology, but what makes the Aquanaut and Olympic Arm hardware special?
Well, the Aquanaut is designed to dive down to 3,000 meters, and importantly, it does not need a tether. Instead, it relies on smart acoustic communication. As an AUD, it handles long missions for things like surveys and inspections, and can hover, as mentioned, for those more delicate tasks. Now, the latest test of Aquanaut Mark II hit a record by going 2,300 meters deep and operating 240 kilometers offshore. That depth makes it useful for over 90% of global offshore oil and gas projects. So practically, from a business perspective, they've proven what they need to, and KITT does not need to test deeper. Now, the Olympic Arm is a next-generation all-electric manipulator that's built for tough underwater jobs like operating valves, connecting equipment, or gathering samples at depth. Since it's electric, it's more precise, more flexible, and more energy efficient than the older hydraulic options.
That's really cool. I have to digress and say, having watched the Woody Harrelson movie last week called Last Breath, my mind is spinning. This is cool technology. Can you elaborate a bit more on the industries and uses for Nauticus's technology?
Yes, absolutely. So Nauticus is aimed at several industries where the potential applications for its technology are already immense and growing. These include offshore energy, so think about oil and gas and offshore wind industries, telecommunications, pipeline, defense, and marine science. Now, looking at the energy sector, Nauticus reduces the need for those costly, fuel-hungry support ships, and it keeps workers out of those dangerous jobs. The robots handle things like inspections, decommissioning, and some other tasks. For offshore wind, Nauticus can check and maintain turbine foundations and cables, for example. And finally, for the customers, the defense industry, robots are used for things like mine clearing, surveillance, and port security.
Excellent. Peter, do you have any tangible evidence on the value and cost savings Nauticus delivers to its customers, just to kind of flesh things out a little further?
Yeah, very, very important question there, Tim. So Nauticus, it really leads the pack thanks to its all-in-one autonomous and AI-powered approach. While the target offshore customer industries are serviced with manned vehicles, and as mentioned before, those big support ships, Nauticus offers safer, smarter, and more affordable solutions that keep people out of harm's way and ultimately shrink the carbon footprint, another important consideration. Their service costs about 20 to 25% less when compared to those traditional options, so there's great value to begin with. More explicitly, according to the company, the Aquanaut can lower inspection costs by 60%, and reduce CO2 emissions by a whopping 75% or more. And of course, you can't value enough the implications for safety when you remove that human element for some of those dangerous offshore tasks that we've mentioned.
Yes, if you haven't seen the movie Last Breath, you'll understand why I made the reference, because it plays right into this. How is Nauticus Robotics planning for the future growth of the firm? Because it strikes me that there's a huge addressable market.
Yeah, absolutely. So the company is now moving from being mostly focused on research and development to becoming a business that's ready to scale up and serve more customers. They're investing in manufacturing partnerships and spreading their technologies across all those fields that I've already discussed. Today, just looking at today, KITT makes money from the Aquanaut by offering its services on a contract day rate basis. But if we start looking ahead, this company is going through a transformation. They're going to shift to a software as a service business model. So basically, KITT wants to let third-party manufacturers build the Aquanaut and the Olympic Arm and then collect the licensing fees or the royalties. So when they take this approach, it's going to mean a much higher gross margin. Plus, because it's less capital intensive, it should help the business grow a lot faster. And now, the company's, just want to mention as well that the company's SeaTrepid acquisition, this is really a great example here of how the company is growing. And you see that in this year's financials. Take a look at the report. That has led to a big boost in operations this year. And there are a lot of synergies that are going to, help further accelerate the expansion from here. So again, please check out the initiation of coverage for some details.
This has been a great overview, Peter. Just as a kind of a final aside, what challenges and opportunities lie ahead for Nauticus?
Well, there are future opportunities for offshore energy, the so-called hotspots. So, think North Sea, South America, West Africa, Asia Pacific. And then branching out into things like subsea construction, deep sea mining, carbon capture and sequestration monitoring, and even deep sea space analog missions. On the flip side, Nauticus has some hurdles to clear. People need to get familiar and comfortable with this autonomous technology. They have to deal with the ever-changing rules and regulations, and navigating supply chains. The challenges there for long lead time critical parts is also an important consideration.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Peter, for those insights from your initiation of coverage report on Nauticus Robotics, NASDAQ, ticker symbol KITT, and a special thanks to the WTR producer and editor of the podcast, Joe Brunetto. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe, as well as visiting www.watertowerresearch.com to read Peter's latest research on Nauticus Robotics, as well as to access countless other small cap equity research reports, podcasts, fireside chats, and conference schedules from Water Tower Research. We'll see you next time for another edition of the WTR Small Cap Spotlight Podcast.